Welcome back to Coin Reveal US. Millions of dollars are in your pocket. If you want to know, watch the video and watch full all details where we uncover the history, rarity, and real market value of interesting United States coins. Today, we are taking a close look at a 1980 Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent coin that may look ordinary at first, but could become more interesting when you examine its condition, mint mark, and especially the details on the reverse. So, if you have a 1980 Jefferson Nickel with the small d mint mark, stay with me until the end, because we are going to look at what this coin is, how to identify it, what it is made of, and most importantly, what a 1980 Jefferson Nickel can actually be worth in today's coin market. The 1980 Jefferson Nickel was struck at the Denver Mint and carries the small d mint mark on the reverse, near Monticello. According to PCGs, the Denver Mint produced 502,323,448 examples of the 1980 Jefferson Nickel. That huge production number means this is generally a common date, and most circulated examples are not rare. But coin collecting is all about condition and special characteristics. And that is where this nickel becomes more interesting. The coin was designed by Felix Schlag, whose famous Jefferson portrait appears on the obverse. You will see Thomas Jefferson facing left, with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1980. On the reverse is Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, along with the words United States of America, E pluribus unum, 5 cents, and Monticello. The coin measures about 21.2 millimeters across and weighs 5 grams. It is made from a copper nickel alloy containing 75% copper and 25% nickel. So a normal 1980 Jefferson Nickel is not a silver coin. Now, let's talk about the D mint mark, because this is one of the first things you should check. Turn the coin over to the reverse side and look around Monticello. The small letter D identifies the Denver Mint. If your 1980 Jefferson Nickel has that D, you have the 1980 variety. If there is no mint mark, that is a different coin struck at Philadelphia. This simple detail can help you correctly identify the coin before checking its value. So, how much is a 1980 Jefferson Nickel worth today? The answer depends heavily on condition. If your coin has been circulated and shows normal wear, scratches, discoloration, or other signs of use, some market guides place circulated examples around face value, while higher-grade uncirculated examples can bring several dollars or more. USA Coinbook currently lists approximately $300 to $362 or more for uncirculated examples, depending on grade, while Gainesville Coins lists about $600 for Ms. 61, $700 for Ms. 63, and around $1,200 for Ms. 65. This means that if your 1980 nickel is simply in good circulated condition, you should not expect thousands of dollars. In fact, most ordinary examples are common. But that does not mean you should automatically throw the coin back into circulation. There is another feature that serious collectors watch closely, and that feature is called full steps. Full steps refers to the horizontal steps on the Monticello building on the reverse. On many Jefferson Nickels, these steps are weak, interrupted, or worn away because of the way the coins were struck and because of circulation. A 1980 nickel with exceptionally sharp, complete steps can be considerably more desirable to collectors. PCGs reports that the full steps version of this date becomes scarce in high grades, particularly around Ms. 65 and above. This is where the value story gets much more interesting. A normal circulated 1980 Jefferson Nickel may only be worth 5 cents, but a high-grade example with strong full steps can be worth much more. Gainesville Coins lists approximately $2,600 for a Ms. 65 full steps example, while PCGs records an auction result of $3,120 for a 1980 Jefferson Nickel graded Ms. 66 full steps. That huge difference demonstrates why condition and strike quality can matter so much in the coin market. There is also an important lesson here. Never assume that every 1980 nickel is valuable simply because you see a high auction price online. That record price applies to an exceptionally high grade and specially designated coin. A regular circulated nickel is completely different. Coin values depend on grade, eye appeal, preservation, strike quality, certification, and collector demand. The same date and mint mark can therefore have dramatically different values. If you are checking your own 1980D Jefferson nickel, start with the date and mint mark. Then examine Jefferson's portrait for signs of wear. Look at the lettering and the details around the hair and cheek. Next, turn the coin over and carefully inspect Monticello. Pay special attention to the steps beneath the building. If those steps appear sharp and uninterrupted, your coin may deserve a closer examination. Also look for unusual errors or varieties. Errors can sometimes make an otherwise common coin much more interesting, but they need to be genuine mint errors rather than damage caused after the coin left the mint. Scratches, dents, discoloration, or alterations usually do not make a common nickel rare. If you believe your coin has an unusual mint error, compare it with reliable references or consider having it examined by a professional. Another important point is cleaning. If you think you have a potentially valuable Jefferson nickel, do not polish or chemically clean it. Cleaning can leave scratches or unnatural surfaces and may reduce collector appeal. Collectors generally prefer coins with original surfaces, especially when they are considering high-grade examples. Now, let's summarize the value range. A typical circulated 1980D Jefferson nickel is generally worth about 5 cents, essentially its face value. Better preserved examples can be worth more, and uncirculated coins can reach several dollars, depending on grade. High-grade coins with full steps can move into substantially higher price levels, with documented auction records reaching thousands of dollars for exceptional examples. These figures are market references rather than guaranteed selling prices, and actual prices can change depending on the buyer, auction, grade, certification, and overall condition. So, is your 1980D Jefferson nickel a hidden treasure? Most likely, if it is a normal circulated coin, it is not worth a fortune. But if you discover an unusually well-preserved specimen with a strong strike and complete full steps, that is when things can become much more interesting. A coin that looks like ordinary pocket change can sometimes deserve a much closer look. And that is exactly why you should always check your old coins before spending them. The date, mint mark, condition, and smallest details can make a major difference. Your 1980D Jefferson nickel may be common, but finding an exceptional example is what makes coin collecting exciting. Next up, the 1998P Jefferson nickel, a 5-cent coin that you might still find in old collections, coin jars, or even pocket change. At first glance, this coin may look completely ordinary, but could your 1998 Jefferson nickel be worth more than 5 cents? In this video, we will examine the 1998P Jefferson nickel, explain the P mint mark, look at its production numbers, discuss its condition and important details, and reveal what this coin can be worth in today's market. The 1998P Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and carries the letter P mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. Near Monticello, more than 688 million examples were produced, making this a common Jefferson nickel rather than a rare date. The coin is made from 75% copper and 25% nickel, has a diameter of about 21.2 millimeters, and is the standard 5-cent denomination. On the front of the coin, you will see the famous portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. Around his portrait are the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1998. The design was created by Felix Schlag, whose Jefferson nickel design has been one of the most recognizable American coin designs for generations. On the reverse, you will see Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home, along with United States of America, E pluribus unum, 5 cents, and Monticello. Now let's talk about the most important identification detail, the P mint mark. Turn the coin over and look on the reverse around the area near Monticello. The small letter P tells us that this particular nickel was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. If your 1998 Jefferson nickel has a P in this location, you have the 1998P variety. This is important because different mint marks can represent different varieties and production numbers. So, how much is a 1998p Jefferson nickel worth today? If your coin is circulated and has normal signs of use, such as scratches, dull surfaces, or wear on Jefferson's portrait and Monticello, it will generally be worth around $700. Some market guides place circulated examples only slightly above $500 value. The important point is that the 1998p nickel is not automatically a valuable coin simply because it is from 1998. Its condition is extremely important. For uncirculated examples, the situation changes. USA Coinbook currently estimates the 1998p Jefferson Nickel at roughly $430 to $470 or more in uncirculated condition, while other market guides show substantially higher prices for professionally graded coins in exceptional grades. APMEX, for example, has indicative values of about $100 for Ms. 63, $600 for Ms. 64, $800 for Ms. 65. $1,400 for Ms. 65 in another grading presentation, and much higher figures for very high-grade examples. These numbers demonstrate that grade can make a major difference. This brings us to one of the biggest things collectors look for on Jefferson Nickels: the condition of the coin. A coin that spent years circulating in pockets and cash registers will usually have noticeable wear. The highest value examples are generally coins that were carefully preserved and have strong original surfaces, sharp details, and very few marks. When examining your 1998p nickel, start with Jefferson's portrait. Look at the hair, cheek, jawline, and lettering. If the details remain sharp and the surface still has an attractive original shine, your coin could be considerably more desirable than an ordinary circulated example. Then turn the coin over and carefully examine Monticello. Pay special attention to the steps beneath Monticello. Jefferson nickel collectors often look for coins with exceptionally sharp and complete steps, commonly referred to as full steps. The quality of the strike can make a major difference in collector interest, especially when the coin is already in high mint state condition. A coin with weak or worn steps is much less exciting than a sharply struck example with strong details. You should also check the coin for unusual errors. Look closely at the lettering, date, rim, and overall shape. If you notice something that appears unusual, do not immediately assume it is a valuable error. Damage that happens after the coin leaves the mint can look strange, but usually does not create significant collector value. Genuine mint errors are different and can sometimes bring strong premiums. Another important warning is never to clean your coin. If you find a 1998p Jefferson nickel that appears unusually sharp or valuable, avoid polishing, scratching, rubbing, or using chemicals on it. Cleaning can permanently damage the coin's original surface and may reduce its collector value. A natural, original-looking surface is generally much more desirable to collectors. There is also an interesting difference between a coin's estimated value and the amount someone might actually pay for it. Coin values can change depending on grade, eye appeal, certification, auction, competition, and collector demand. A price guide is useful for research, but it should never be treated as a guaranteed selling price. The market can move, and exceptional coins can sometimes sell for dramatically different amounts. So, let's make the value guide simple. If you have an ordinary circulated 1998p Jefferson nickel, expect roughly 5 cents. With some examples potentially selling for a small premium depending on condition. A nice uncirculated example can be worth around $1 or more, while higher grade certified examples can reach several dollars, tens of dollars, or significantly more, depending on the exact grade and quality. APMEX currently lists values reaching hundreds of dollars for exceptionally high grade examples, showing just how much condition can affect the market. But remember, finding a high-value 1998p nickel in everyday pocket change is uncommon. The vast majority of these coins are common and inexpensive. The real excitement comes from finding an unusually well-preserved example, a strong strike, a potentially valuable mint error, or a coin with characteristics that make it stand out from normal examples. So, Before you spend your 1998p Jefferson nickel, take a few seconds to inspect it. Check the date, confirm the P mint mark, examine Jefferson's portrait, inspect Monticello, and look carefully at the steps. Use good lighting and, if possible, a magnifying glass. You might not have a fortune in your hand, but you could have a coin worth keeping for your collection, and that is the fascinating part of coin collecting. Millions of coins were made, but only a small percentage survive in exceptional condition. The difference between an ordinary 5-cent coin and a collectible coin can sometimes be found in the smallest details. Next up, a 1996p Jefferson nickel, a 5-cent coin that may look completely ordinary at first, but could be more interesting depending on its condition and the details you find on it. If you have a 1996 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark, stay with me because we are going to identify this coin. Look at its mintage, examine what makes it valuable, and reveal what a 1996p Jefferson nickel can be worth in today's market. The 1996p Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and the P mint mark identifies Philadelphia as the place where this coin was produced. In 1996, the Philadelphia Mint produced 829,332,000 Jefferson Nickels. Because more than 829 million were made, the 1996p is considered a common date in circulated condition. It is made from 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs 5 grams and measures about 21.2 millimeters in diameter. On the obverse, you will see the familiar left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. Around his portrait are the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1996. The design was created by Felix Schlag and has appeared on Jefferson Nickels since 1938. When you turn the coin over, you will see Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home, along with United States of America, e pluribus unum, 5 cents. And Monticello, one important detail to check is the P mint mark. On a 1996p Jefferson nickel, the small letter P is located on the obverse, to the right of Jefferson's portrait and below the date. This helps distinguish the Philadelphia issue from the 1996D nickel struck in Denver and the 1996S proof nickel struck in San Francisco. So, if you see a small P in this location, you have identified the 1996p Jefferson nickel. Now, let's get to the question every collector wants answered. How much is a 1996p Jefferson nickel worth today? If your coin has been circulated and shows normal wear from being used as pocket change, it is generally worth around $700. Current references show that the major collector value for this date is concentrated in uncirculated examples, especially coins with exceptional grades and full steps. For ordinary uncirculated coins, USA Coinbook currently gives an estimated value of about $524 or more, depending on condition and grade. Other market references show higher prices for professionally graded examples and better mint state grades. This means that simply finding a 1996p nickel does automatically mean you have a valuable coin. The condition is extremely important. This is where you should pay close attention to the reverse. Jefferson nickel collectors often look at the steps underneath Monticello. These steps can be weak or incomplete because of the way the coin was struck. When the steps are sharply defined and complete, the coin may qualify for a full steps designation. High-grade Jefferson Nickels with full steps can be dramatically more valuable than ordinary examples. In fact, some market references report very high prices for exceptional 1996p full step specimens. One current guide reports that top-grade full steps examples can reach thousands of dollars, while documented auction records also show significant prices for unusual 1996p error coins. For example, CoinWorld lists a 1996p Jefferson nickel with double-curved clips, graded Ms. 64, that sold for $790, and a mated pair chain strike error graded Ms. 66, that sold for $970. These are specialized error coins and should not be confused with normal circulated nickels. So, if your 1996p nickel is in good circulated condition, expect hundreds or thousands of dollars. But if your coin is bright, sharp, nearly uncirculated, and has excellent detail. It deserves a closer inspection. Start by looking at Jefferson's hair and cheek. These areas can show wear quickly. Then examine the lettering and date for softness or damage. After that, turn the coin over and inspect Monticello. Look closely at the windows, columns, roof, and especially the steps. If the details are unusually sharp, you may have a coin worth keeping. You should also look for genuine mint errors. Check the rim, ring, date, and overall shape of the coin. An unusual appearance does not automatically mean an error. Scratches, dents, discoloration, corrosion, and damage caused after the coin left the mint usually do not carry the same premium as a genuine mint error. If something looks unusual, compare it with reliable references or have the coin examined by a professional. Another important rule for collectors is never clean a potentially valuable coin. Do not polish it, scratch it, or use chemicals to make it look brighter. Cleaning can permanently damage the original surface and can reduce the value of a collectible coin. If your 1996p nickel looks unusually well preserved, leave the surface alone. Let's make the value guide simple. A normal circulated 1996p Jefferson nickel is generally worth about $700. A nice uncirculated example can be worth roughly $100 to $700 depending on grade and market. Higher grade certified coins can bring significantly more, especially when they have full steps or a genuine mint error. Exceptional examples can reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but these are rare and should never be confused with ordinary pocket change specimens. The most important lesson is that the date alone does not make this nickel rare. The 1996p had a huge mintage of more than 829 million coins, so there are plenty of examples available. The real opportunity is finding one that survived in exceptional condition or has a legitimate mint-made error. That's why checking the smallest details can be worthwhile. So, before you spend your 1996p Jefferson nickel, take a few seconds to inspect it carefully. Confirm the 1996 date, look for the P mint mark, check Jefferson's portrait for wear, and examine the Monticello steps on the reverse. If the coin is unusually sharp and well preserved, put it aside for further research, and that is what makes coin collecting so exciting. A coin that looks like ordinary 5-cent pocket change can sometimes become much more interesting when you know exactly what to look for. Most 1996p Jefferson Nickels are common, but exceptional examples, full steps coins, and genuine mint errors can tell a completely different story. Next up, the 1988p Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent coin that may be hiding in an old collection, coin jar, or even your pocket change. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary nickel, but the date, mint mark, condition, and quality of the strike can make a big difference. So, if you have a 1988 Jefferson Nickel with the P mint mark, stay with me until the end as we reveal what this coin is, how to identify it, and what a 1988p Jefferson Nickel can be worth in today's market. The 1988p Jefferson Nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The small P mint mark identifies Philadelphia as the mint where the coin was produced. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 771 million Jefferson Nickels in 1988, so this is not considered a rare date in normal circulated condition. The coin has a face value of 4,700 and is made from the standard copper nickel composition used for Jefferson Nickels during this period. On the obverse, you will see the famous portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. Around his portrait are the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1988. The Jefferson Nickel design was created by Felix Schlag and has been one of America's most recognizable coin designs for generations. Turn the coin over and you will see Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, along with United States of America, e pluribus unum, 5 cents, and Monticello. The first thing you should check is the P mint mark. On the 1988p Jefferson Nickel, the P appears on the obverse, to the right of Jefferson's portrait and below the date. This small letter is important because it tells us that the coin was made at Philadelphia. Without checking the mint mark, it is easy to confuse the 1988p with the 1988D nickel produced at Denver, or the 1988S proof struck for collectors. Now, let's get to the question everyone wants to know. How much is a 1988P Jefferson nickel worth today? If your coin is circulated and has normal scratches, wear, and discoloration from everyday use, it is generally worth around $700. Because so many were produced, an ordinary circulated 1988P nickel usually does not carry a large premium. However, condition can completely change the story. If your 1988P nickel is uncirculated, has strong original luster, very few marks, and sharp details, it may be worth more than $300 current price. Guides generally show that uncirculated examples can bring premiums depending on their grade, with higher grade coins becoming increasingly collectible. One of the most important areas to inspect on any Jefferson nickel is Monticello on the reverse. Look closely at the steps beneath the building. Collectors pay special attention to coins with sharply defined and complete steps, often called full steps. A strong strike combined with excellent preservation can make a Jefferson nickel much more desirable than a normal circulated example. So, if your 1988P nickel looks unusually bright and sharp, don't immediately spend it. Hold the coin by its edges and examine it under good lighting. Look at Jefferson's hair, cheek, jawline, and the lettering. Then flip it over and inspect the columns, windows, and especially the steps of Monticello. You should also check for possible mint errors. Examine the date, letters, rim, and overall shape. If you see doubling, an unusual edge, a strange-looking design, or another feature that appears to have happened during production, it may deserve additional research. But remember that scratches, dents, corrosion, and damage caused after the coin left the mint are not the same as genuine mint errors. Another important warning is never clean your coin if you think it could be valuable. Avoid polishing, rubbing, scratching, or using chemicals. A cleaned coin can lose collector appeal, and improper cleaning can permanently damage the surface. Original surfaces are especially important when evaluating high-grade coins. Let's make the value guide easy to understand. A normal circulated 1988P Jefferson nickel is generally worth $655. A better preserved uncirculated example can be worth more, potentially from a small premium into several dollars depending on its grade. High-grade examples with exceptional surfaces and strong full steps can be worth considerably more. Rare and genuine mint errors can also command significant premiums, but those are not typical examples. This is why you should never believe that every 1988P nickel is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Online videos and listings sometimes show spectacular prices, but those prices usually apply to exceptional coins with a specific grade, full steps designation, major error, or unusual variety. The average 1988P nickel found in circulation is still a 555. The good news is that checking your coin costs almost nothing. You only need good lighting and a little patience. Start with the date. Confirm that it says 1988. Then check for the P mint mark. Next, examine the overall condition and look carefully at Monticello. If the coin has sharp details, strong luster, and unusually clean surfaces, set it aside instead of spending it. The 1988P Jefferson Nickel is a great reminder that coin collecting isn't always about finding an extremely old coin. Even modern coins can become collectible when they survive in exceptional condition or contain genuine mint-made characteristics. Millions of ordinary examples may exist, but high-quality survivors can be much harder to find. So, is your 1988P Jefferson Nickel worth a fortune? Most likely not, if it is an ordinary circulated example. But if yours is in exceptional uncirculated condition, has sharp full steps, or shows a legitimate mint error, it could be worth much more than $560. That's why you should always inspect your coins before spending them. If you enjoyed this 1988P Jefferson Nickel value reveal, make sure to subscribe to Coin Reveal USA for more United States coin values. Jefferson Nickels, wheat pennies, rare quarters, dollar coins, mint errors, and hidden treasures that could be sitting in your collection or pocket change. Remember, check the date, check the mint mark, check the condition, and never clean a potentially valuable coin. Thanks for watching Coin Reveal USA, and keep checking your coins.